Hi, in this video, I'm going to explain a bit more about the primary repository, and I also added some updates, and also want to tell you how to get your code updated to run the new program. So as I was preparing for the lecture for Chapter 7, I would like to show a localization example, and the standard localization library in the basically in the standard, it's not very good. And if you're going to do localization, internationalization, I'm going to explain that in the lecture. Then you better use some good quality library. Boost is one such library. So and this just is going to show you what I did, and then also help you understand how to go back and get this set up properly. All right. So the code is actually so first of all, you need to sync. I would have the sync. They just do a git pull, and this is in Visual Studio. So you git pull, synchronize the latest code, and then you'll see a new folder. So I've added a program here is C7 underscore localization. No, C7 stands for chapter 7. So I may add more programs here that is beyond the examples in the book. So this particular example uses this the Boost library. So to be able to use Boost, you have to install it first. So I'm going to go back to the installation of a Boost, but let's suppose right now you've got the Boost installed. And what you do, first you need to reconfigure your repository, your local project, basically, in the terms of this build tool. This is a project, and this project obviously has many components. so So what you do, again, actually, there's two options, right? So you've learned from the primary repo, you can do a sort of a clean upgrade by deleting the basically the dot bdep folder. So because the dot bdep folder contains the state of the project, if you remove this, you can have a clean install. Now, clean configuration, sorry. And then the other one that I do is less destructive, and so again, so I have already put that in the README for the top level README in the project. So that is the place where you see uh, the sometimes you want to reconfigure. So there's these two commands that you can run. For example, I'm going to run this. So this will de-initialize the, the debug configuration. This add debug is actually a nickname of the configuration that you've created, which is in a separate folder that contains various different artifacts during the build. And then secondly, I'm going to remove that configuration from the local sort of database. And now, so I'm ready to proceed with the bdep init. And then this time, the initialization will be a little bit different. So you should refer to the README inside the localization folder. Okay, there's a README inside localization folder. So this is where I'm at. So there's this command. It has just a few more options than before. The difference is this. One, there is an additional include folder that we want to basically add to the compiler. There's a P options. P stands for pre-processing for like the directives, right? This hash include. So this contains the the header files that you can find for various different libraries. This is not just for Boost. If we end up using a different library, which we may install with a VC package, VC package is a package manager from Microsoft for C++ projects. So this is going to find it, and this will search this path. Okay, so this will this is one. Second thing is uh, the linker options. The linker options, we used to just have a /debug to to link in a debug mode. So now we added a new thing, which is a search path for library. Now we gotta search for now the boost libraries. And the boost libraries are installed in some place. So this would be a folder where the boost libraries are installed after you've gone through the boost installation process. Okay. Now, there is also one more thing in the end, besides those options. We also add um, two, sort of a two library directives. This is actually instructing build2 to find these two libraries um, within the system, not to fetch to somewhere else. So anyway, this is just a particular format. This is one of them is the boost system, and the other one is a boost locale. All right. So that is the new init, and that will basically get this localization program compiled. Okay. So I'm gonna just run this now. Keep in mind that where you run this command, you're still in the top level folder. We're not in the localization folder. Now, you don't have to do this every time. This is, again, because we made this change and there's something new, new dependencies, so we need to do this reconfiguration again. I wish there's a less painful process, but this is what we'll have to do now. I've tried to make it as simple for you. So now we have this initialized. Okay, configuration is done, and now we just build. You can build all the programs like you used to do as before, and this time we want to build this localization program. And by the way, when you're typing a path in PowerShell or any kind of terminal, try to use tab. Use the tab to complete. You type a couple of characters and then press tab. It will complete, and then that will avoid typos. Okay, it's going to save you time. So for example, I type C here, and then this folder comes up because right now this is the only folder under lecture. So I'm going to build this program. Okay, so that is built. And then I know the executable is also in that folder, which is actually a symlink back to the actual executable, which is in the debug folder, right? Our configuration folder. So I'm going to just execute it right here. There's a couple of levels because, and by the way, so you see here, so this initially starts with the CXS. That's the first file, is alphabetical. And then the exe goes after. So you tap again, iterate through that. So now I got this path complete. So you see I did not type a whole lot of stuff. I just type a single character, C and tab, C and tab, C and tab, tab. That's what I did. So now I have the full path that goes to this executable, which is a symlink over here. As far as the user is concerned, this is the same thing. You're executing that same file. So I'm going to run this. Okay, so this is really what the program outputs. Okay, now you see some German here, some Greek, and then some Chinese as well. Okay, So there's just a different test of the localization. And I'm going to explain a bit more as I go into the lecture. So anyway, this is the program you can read. This is a couple lines. Going to actually I'm going to go and kind of explain as part of the lecture. But so right now we're able to run this thing, and of course, if you see the includes, there are actually there's a couple of boost library we're using, and you can use your control click. You can actually navigate to the source file for the headers if you want. Not that it's gonna uh, very good experience anyways. So typically for C++, if your IDE is good, and then you may find the documentation and they show you exactly what they are. But what I find that the documentation usually is a little bit hit and miss, and so you would probably want to go to the website that actually, for example, the Boost. In the case of Boost, you go to the Boost um, website. You're gonna just have a documentation. Everything is documented there. And then for the standard library, as I pointed out, there's this cppreference.com that would be very good at reference. You can go to study the library, and as you use some of those things more, and you're actually going to remember a lot of those. And but whenever you're in DAO, you should go and check the reference manual for the libraries and how to use them and what they mean. Um, so as you see here, as I hover over, actually the Visual Studio will show you some documentation. This is great, right? So this is working because we've added some environment variables as part of the installation. So the Visual Studio is aware of the libraries, okay? So it's gonna make your programming a little more pleasant. So that's that one. That's what I wanted to share about this upgrading this repository to be able to run that localization library. So it's a little bit different. We are using another dependency that's a boost. Now let me go back to the installation. So it's in the menu. You can navigate to it. It's in this sort of week 2 part of the menu. So I've added a portion about Boost. And so there's installation instruction for Windows and a Mac. Windows is a bit of involved, but it's not that complicated, but I'm going to go through this with you. Now, let me actually quickly go through the Mac instructions first, because it's fairly easy. Well, you see, well, this doesn't seem fair, right? Why is it so simple for Mac? Again, as I said, the development experience on Mac is usually more superior than Windows, just because Windows has not paid not much attention to the developer community to make a Windows system. Um, but they are changing right now, so they're actually making a lot of stuff good for the open source community for developers. Okay, so for Mac, so previously you have installed Homebrew, which is a package manager for Mac, and you use Brew to install Boost. So that's it. That's all you have to do. Now, once you have that Boost installed, so the instructions for getting that localization program running, you go back to that README in the localization folder. You don't have to reconfigure the whole thing. You just actually just need to do this command. You do a init-a for all the components, and you add on these 2 system libraries that instructing the build tool to actually go look for them. And because the Boost libraries are installed in a standard library locations, that's why build2 can find them. But there's no such thing on Windows. It's unfortunate. So that's one of the big differences here. So that's it for Mac. right? Then let's come back to Windows. So to install Boost on Windows. So I've decided now I've kind of evaluated different options, and so I want to come up with something that's relatively easier for you. And so first, let's install the package manager for C++ packages. So it's called the VCPKG. That's for Microsoft. The VC stands for obviously Visual C++. And so the way to install that is you first do a git clone. Okay, so find a folder where you do your development, and then so it's gonna do a git clone of that VCPKG repository, and then you're gonna have a folder here called the VCPKG, right? So you're already familiar with the git clone now, and then we run this script, this again, so if I have not noted otherwise, all this scripting that you see in the instructions, they're all PowerShell. Okay, make sure you use PowerShell. And then typically, yeah, so that's PowerShell. Okay, so you run this script, and so that's going to do some setup. And then once that is done, okay, make sure you check the output, right? Just see if you can spot any errors, and if there are errors, you need to address them before you proceed. Okay, and it goes with any of the block of script commands that I provide you, because I cannot possibly you can't sort of anticipate all the errors you may get, but I do test the commands that I provide to you. So you may surprise me. It depends on how your machine is set up. So I hope it goes smoothly for most of you. And then you install Boost. So once you have this VCPKG, and then you use that to install Boost. Okay, it's a single command. This is going to take, let me refresh that. This is going to take a while, actually. Okay, so because Boost is actually a fairly large library. It's a kind of a set of libraries, and so a little bit of heavy weight. Okay, so that's going to take a little bit of time. I did not really time it, but my guess is may take like a half an hour or so. Okay, depending on your machine, of course. So once that is done, okay, at least go back and check the output from the last screen and see if there's anything says error, something will jump out, or if there's, make sure it's all passing. Okay. So by doing this, you actually have the Boost installed. And it's installed in a local folder, actually, inside this VCPKG folder. So now this command, we're trying to create some symlinks. So on Windows, again, it's one of those things, it's just a kind of box at you. It's not very developer friendly. So in fact, you have to open a new terminal. Make sure this time you use the right click, select run as admin, because now we need a terminal with admin privileges, okay, for creating symlinks. So once you have that new terminal, and then first you go into this particular folder. Now, when you see a dot, 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 I have a note here. Substitute the dot, dot, dot. It's just a notation I use with the full path, because my full path will be different from yours. So use the full path to that VCPKG folder. Initially, you did the git clone, right? So go to this particular folder. This is where the libraries are installed. So we're gonna create actually two symlinks. There's two libraries that we use out of Boost for this localization program. So in the future, if we need more libraries from Boost, we may create more symlinks, but that's it. That's the only thing that we need to do once you have this set up. Okay, so the reason I do the symlinking here is to have make sure the code works on both on Mac and Windows. So there's some kind of naming issues. Okay, so the names you get from the VCPKG installation is somehow different from this, homebrew install on Mac. So that's why there's this naming, and also the build tool expect certain naming format for libraries. Anyway, so run these two things. They create two symlinks inside that folder. And then we deal with the environment variables. That's the thing with the Windows. Typically, you kind of have to deal with the environment for most of the software installation that we need to use. So add a new variable. That's going to point to the VCPKG folder, the full path. All right. And then because we're going to use this variable in different places, so that's why we need to have this variable, and that tells the us what the VCPKG is located. So we need that location. Then this include, and when you see this plus equal, well, that's like I'm just borrowing this compound assignment operator from the C++, right? It should kind of easy to read, but this is obviously not how Windows operate. This is just telling you to add this right-hand side to this variable, because I don't know if we already have this variable. If you don't, this will be the initial value. If you do, and then add this value onto it, okay? And separate with the semicolons, okay? And then same thing with the lib, right? Add this thing to lib environment variable if you already have it. Otherwise, this will be the only value. And path, also add this folder to path. And obviously you already have a bunch of a path already on, on here for this variable. So you just add this one more row. And how does this look? Well, I apologize. Actually, there's a bit of I had a bit of mess up with my screen sharing. Sorry, I went to the wrong screen. Because I'm running a remote session for Windows, and so this is sorry about this. And when I was explaining this, I was pointing this out. So again, I just quickly go back again. So I was putting out this menu here. So you do a git clone, right? Run that script. That's from the VCPKG that you just cloned, and then you install boot. Okay, and then open a new terminal with admin privileges, and then create two symlinks. All right. The ... here represents, you should substitute this for the full path to the VCPKG, all right? And then add a couple of things to the environment. So to do the environment, you just search in the search bar, type env, and then you'll have this thing show up, edit the system environment variables, and you click on that, and then click on environment variables. Okay, now you see this environment variables window here. There's a bunch of things out there. So usually I don't really care about the system variables. I usually just work on this user variable section. It's kind of the scope. It is the system level. This is the user level for your particular user. If you have multiple users on your system, then your variables are not visible to other users. That's what this is. So add the so basically add the VCPKG root. Okay, this specifies the path to that VCPKG folder, and then add this include variable. If you don't have it, then create it. If you already have it, and then add this new value to it, separated with a semicolons. And then same thing with the lib, right? And the path, so add a new value to the path. Okay, you just you can double click right, in this on this line. And that's where you can just add a new one. So get those things done. Now, keep in mind, whenever you change the environment, these variables are not going to be visible to your existing terminals or your existing Visual Studio session. So you would, if you want to be able to see the new variables taking effect, you have to restart a new start a new terminal. If you're using the terminal outside, and then if you're using Visual Studio, you have to um, close the Visual Studio and open a new one. Okay. There's one more thing we got to do because we're dealing with the localization. There's sort of a characters that are in different foreign languages. So get this thing here done. So what you do is you add this one line of a code inside this file. Okay, see the here $home represents your user home path. Typically is a C colon backslash users backslash your username, something like that, right? Um, so for example, like mine is like this, okay? So, well, if I print out the home variable, you'll see this is the home. Okay, you're gonna have something similar to that. So by doing this, then you're gonna get the UTF-8 encoding as the output in the terminal. Okay, so then you will be able to see sort of the foreign language characters and stuff like that in Unicode. So that is the setup for installing Boost. All right. So I hope this helps. I'll talk to you later. Bye.